Welcome back to the Table Rush Talk Show. I'm your host, Misha Zvagensov, and today I'm excited to share an insightful conversation I had with Vikram Saxena, CEO of Better Commerce. Vikram has over 25 years of experience in the e-commerce space, but don't let that intimidate you. This episode is packed with practical tips on how you can harness the power of e-commerce tools to grow your business, scale efficiently, and better serve your customers. Let's dive in. Vikram, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Misha. It's to be here.
Yes, and you are joining us from New Delhi, I believe you said.
That is correct. Yes.
And so, before we dive into what you do in your business and all that, let's talk about your travel. So you're stationed in London. That's where your company's based. Now you're in New Delhi. Tell me, why are you traveling? Where are you going? What are you doing?
So, Misha, basically, I've got my dev center based out of Delhi. I primarily shuttle between London and Delhi quite often, pretty much 3, 4 weeks here, 3, 4 weeks there. That's my regular routine, essentially. So,
Okay.
my family continues to live in Delhi. They refuse to move me. So, I have to make sure and work around that.
Son of a gun. And so how often are you traveling back and forth?
Pretty much every month, every second month, every 3, 4 weeks.
And then how long is that travel? How far is it? How
About
long?
9.5 hours flight
Nine and
one
a
way.
9.5 hours. Does the company allow you to go first class?
No, it does.
It
Yeah,
doesn't.
that's all right. Yeah, it's all right.
All right. Well,
But
let's dive into it. On my introduction there, I was throwing around a lot of of words that often that I'm not so familiar with. So let's talk about composable commerce. What is composable commerce? And then maybe we'll dive into API driven solutions. Go ahead. Talk to me about
yes,
compose. Yeah, go ahead.
composable commerce is basically a newer, I mean, it's almost like this approach has evolved wherein you can compose. If I give you a simple analogy in simple terms, that's basically Lego blocks. Like there are these blocks of different kinds, and then you can build anything out of those blocks that you want. So for every business, there is specific needs. We build these modules which can potentially be used like Lego blocks and plugged onto other blocks of the other type, make something unique for every business.
So give me some examples. So that's pretty cool. You're basically building out infrastructure or tools,
Correct.
and then you can layer them and move them to maximize efficiency or
Yes. Like,
yeah, go ahead.
for example, we provide this PIM that you read, product information management system. We provide PIM, we provide a CMS, we provide ecom. We provide all of these capabilities as composable modules. What that means is that you, as a business, you are running some other ecom platform and you want to utilize our product data management solution along with your ecom solution. So it will work with that as well, interoperably.
Fantastic. So that's when we start getting into APIs and things like that. And
Yes.
if my understanding an API is basically how disparate computer systems, if you want to say it that way, are talking to each other.
Exactly. It's basically the disparate systems, how they talk to each other. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And so give me some examples of APIs. Are you go ahead, give me some examples.
API is basically, it's application programming interface. That's essentially. And what it does is it allows you to build systems and extend your system to third party or expose your system to third party systems so they can access your data the way you want it and the way they want. They have freedom to build on top of whatever you build.
Amazing. So give me some real life examples, maybe that you're dealing with or your team is dealing with on a daily basis.
Yeah, so for example, now customers being able to, as an e-com business, you want to send out emails to all your customer base. Yeah.
Yep.
Now your customer data may be sitting in an e-com platform or in a customer data platform. Now, your email marketing solution basically needs to access all of that customer data, how much purchase that customer do, what is that website, all of that data, they can't access directly from the native system, from a third-party system. The third-party system will expose all of this data through an API, and that email engine will basically access it and utilize it the way they want.
And then are you building the interface or the language, or literally?
We provide the APIs from our modules, so any third-party solution can basically sit on top of our modules and pay as much as they want, and whatever they want, this is.
Fantastic. Thank you for explaining that. AI is all the rage. Artificial intelligence, specifically generative AI, I think is what most of the common man is used to. Most of us at this point now have heard of Chat GPT and OpenAI. Maybe talk to us in terms of APIs with that. So someone goes, "Oh, I see." Yeah, go ahead.
So, for example, now this is again a very interesting question that we asked. Basically, I'm sure you have used ChatGPT, right? You go to the browser, you type in something, and you get your responses right away.
Yes. Yep.
Correct. Now, imagine you are making a presentation in PowerPoint or doing calculations in Excel. Just say you're making a presentation in PowerPoint. Now, you want to gather some content or ask ChatGPT about some elements. Now, what you would do is you will have to switch between PowerPoint and go to browser and type your question and get your answer, and then copy paste that back in PowerPoint, right?
Yes.
PowerPoint is coming up with capability called Copilot, which internally integrates with OpenAI APIs. Even OpenAI and ChatGPT, they offer an API. So in that case, what we'll do is instead of you having to go out to PowerPoint and go to ChatGPT and then bring it all over, read that process, you can just do all of that within PowerPoint itself. We can say, build me slides on this subject with 5 points each. So it will actually give you 5 slides right then and there. Instead of you having to go to ChatGPT, trying to copy content for slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, slide 4. Generate those 5 slides within PowerPoint. That it is doing through the API that is exposed by the ChatGPT or OpenAI.
Fantastic. Great explanation. Thank you for that. There was a term, I was going through your website. Anybody listening, watching can go to bettercommerce.io, bettercommerce.io, and you can see case studies. You can get more in depth on what Vikram and his company does. So anybody watching, listening, go to bettercommerce.io and follow along with us. I saw something in there, headless. It's headless. Finish that term for me. What is that?
Headless technology, basically, headless architecture. So basically, now imagine yourself, what represents you is your face, right? That's your head. Now, for any system, typically, you would have, let's say if you're talking to a brand, you were initially talking to them through one channel that was probably their store, physical stores, right?
Yes.
Then came another channel that was their website. And then came few more channels, mobile app, mobile watch, Fitbits and televisions, smart televisions. So now all of these are basic way of interacting with any brand or any system.
Okay. Thank you
These
for
are all touch points and they are basically the head.
Okay.
So initially, earlier, what used to happen was that all the logic was needed. It was built on one end, or it was a mixture in the web. It was all mixture done in one place. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas what became a problem was mobile did not understand the web language. television, smart televisions did not know the language of your web. These were all different heads. Now all the logic had to be separated from that behind the scenes so that it becomes easier for people and easier to build systems which are uniform and consistent across all touch points.
Amazing. Let me ask you how much your daily job as CEO of Better Commerce, are you doing 80% selling to other customers, high level sales conversations, partner conversations, or no, you're heavy into the engineering side of things? What's your month look like? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am 50-50 onto the tech product and sales side as well. So we have who works with me. He basically the chief revenue officer. He drives all those conversations from a sales perspective, partnerships and alliances. And I support him through the whole process as well, wherever needed. Typically, I would say, I focus more on 60% of my time goes on technology, product, and innovation. And rest of the 40% time goes on supporting with sales team, marketing, and reviewing all of those bids. Probably 30% is that. And then another 5 to 10% is overall managing the
Okay.
organization.
When you're, let's talk about what your company, excuse me, from, I I'm losing my voice. 7 a.m. California time as we record this. Let's talk about what your company does uh, and give people a vision of how you serve.
So basically, we provide e-com platform which helps businesses go online. Potentially, businesses who are already running in an offline mode or are struggling with technology stack or have to spend tons of money, millions of dollars on running their website, mobile app, and all of that. We reduce their cost by half to the time, sometimes by quarter as well. So most of the time, and especially we focus primarily on the businesses which are at least the million upwards, where there is some sophistication into the business. There are lots of complexities. So build the solution on maturity of the business, where it can cater to different various needs and at the same time simplify those processes as well.
How much education are you doing with like are the questions that I'm asking you, are those common questions from companies you're helping? Are you doing a lot of education? Go ahead.
No, actually, not too much, to be honest. Most of the customers that we or prospects we reach out to typically understand all of these elements and what are the modern ways of doing business and technology stack and building their commerce technology environment. So most of the times, it is not too much of an education. It's more about convincing them and finding the right use cases for the context for their business and how the solution fits into their business and what problem we can solve for them.
Are you are most of your customers finding you, or do you have a sales team that's doing outreach and you're looking for these 20 mil companies?
So we do both. It's a combination of both. Our go-to-market strategies are outbound and outbound both. So it's a decent balance overall now. We started out with the outreach side and then gradually have been content around doing the inbound as well.
Fantastic. So if I heard you just say this, you built your outbound sales team,
Yes.
and as you've built your business, you've started to create that SEO rich content that's pulling people in.
Yes.
And then were you building, so your company is based in London, family's based in Delhi, so you're traveling back and forth. Did you build out sales team in London, or did you start in Delhi, or
So we have a part of the sales team in London, one or two people. It's two people actually. There's one more guy besides me, and then rest of the 5 people are all based out of me. Support them from the back end, doing all the inside sales calls, all the face-to-face meetings are done by the people. If need, people come from Wow.
That's cool. And then is your sales team literally looking online at
Yeah.
companies that, yeah.
It's mainly through LinkedIn and few other tools, how they find and they investigate events, quite a bit of events as well. So looking for kind of potential prospects and customers and where we think we can add value to business.
And tell me about the other tools. You
So
said
it's
LinkedIn event.
LinkedIn, yeah, LinkedIn, outreach, email, events, like marketing, PR, all of that do from an outbound perspective and cold calling as well to some extent.
Awesome. I love it. Old school. We would call that old school sales. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. And I was looking at your case studies and I saw, for example, the Fragrance Shop, which is UK's leading fragrance business with 200 stores, plus stores, four sales channels. They went from a strong position to growing 500% in 3 years after changing to better commerce. So let's talk about the Fragrance Shop quick. And I have two questions. Let's start with, how did you find Fragrance Shop? Was that through outreach, or we got balloons? Was that through outreach or?
So fragrance shop came to us through a reference. Somebody had referred us to them and we had done some work in the past. So there was a little bit of a relationship with them. And when we started building the product, we them and asked them to take a gamble on us. They that risk and definitely paid off for them. They are an extreme value for us as well.
Fantastic. Great story. Tell me, what do you do, high level or as granular as you want, but like give me the before and after. What were their struggles before? And then we implemented X, X, and X, and now this is the benefit
Yeah.
of that.
So we
Yeah.
done quite a lot for them over the last couple of years. I mean, I think they were one of our first client, and they are still our biggest client as of today as well. And what we've done for them is we've taken them, when their online business, the website business was really minuscule, small proportion of their whole business, to making it almost more than half or equal to their offline stores sales as well from the website itself. What we've done for them is quite a lot. We've built, delivered a membership, Prime style membership, subscriptions, and deliver from store. Quite a lot of capabilities, analytics, capturing all the customer behavior elements, and everything around that, which has definitely helped. It all adds up, and there's always a dominoes effect of every small change, every small positive change. There's generally a very significant dominoes effect, which leads on to further benefits. And it has eventually shown in their financial growth that it's not just technology. I think their overall business strategy, the way they execute, they control every element of the business is quite phenomenal.
That is awesome. So you're going fairly deep and really helping these companies that work with you
Yeah,
strategically execute a plan, and then also like help them build out the tech side of things at the same time.
correct. Correct. Help them build.
Dimension. Dimension. I'm not sure what Dimension does. They look like they might be,
Yeah,
yeah, they're a clothing company of some sort.
they are a clothing company. They are basically a men's lounge or innerwear company based out of India. Uh, Thought just started about 4 or 5 years ago before COVID, and it's doing phenomenally well actually. Challenging a lot of established players in the market. Already got decent store walls across the country. They've got store presence. They've got presence in full trade. And again, we help them go completely zero engineering. Before we stepped in, they had a team of almost 30 in-house engineers, and they literally have just one person managing the whole product and the technology state, the whole technology architecture and technology landscape. And all of that pretty much runs on our platform. They manage their lot of store offline work on the platform, they manage their customer data on our platform, all their website, mobile app, it all runs through our platform.
Wow. So is that a common theme with with who you help or who
Yes.
you serve?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're
Typically,
able.
the idea is to get in and help them grow strategically rather than solving a problem today or just tomorrow. Typically, get in and take a little bit of time to understand what that points are and what the aspirations are. And then we build a bit of a strategy around that. So it's not just about providing a solution and walking off or providing a technology and walking off. So we handle them through that whole process and after that process as well.
That is amazing. Tell me your favorite story of a company that you cold outreached, you or someone on your team, and then you've helped transform their company. And walk me through
So
the process. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so there is this company called FFX in the UK, which is basically third largest company in tools, DIY tools. Yeah, so we met them at an event and we started pitching them one of our smaller module or PIM. Like the PIM module, there is of course lots of calls, demos, and everything happened. And then they said, okay, we'll go for the PIM. We went with the PIM. Within 3 months of the time, their data was huge, phenomenally huge data set. They had more than 250,000 SKUs. We helped them sanitize all of that data, clean it all up, set up the restructure their taxonomies, sanitize all of that, and bring it in a more structured and manageable way. All of that has helped them. And then they liked it so much, they said, would you be willing to take up our whole digital platform as well? So then we took on their digital platform as well. And today they are a very happy customer.
Amazing. Tell me the name of that company again.
FFX.
FFX. And that's an English what did you say, like a tool company?
Yes, yes. It's a third largest company in the UK. DIY tools.
And then PIM model. I was looking through your products and I did see PIM and I can't remember what PIM stands for, but tell us what PIM stands for.
PIM stands basically for product information management. So any business which is typically into the e-com business or retail need a system to maintain their product data. Most of the times, business is already operating organically, or evolved organically. They would always have an ERP to maintain their basic product data. Where steps in is to give them flexibility around maintaining different kinds of data and different facets of that data depending on the category of the data. Rather than just simple field for everything and putting everything in one big field, you can then have a much more structured approach to your data.
Awesome. Tell me about when you go to an event, you what was the last event you went to and what's the next one you're going to?
Last event I did was basically in the Ravazon Golf Course. Free basically has been a host of Ryder Cup as well. Some years back, we had this event. One day was golf, and the other day was meeting up with prospects, industry peers, and all. That was the last event I did, and then the next event that I'm doing is the Shop Talk in Barcelona.
Awesome. What at the Belfi event, tell me the most common conversation you're having. And I'm talking about you obviously, well, tell me about your company or this or that, but tell me about like what's the most common problem you're hearing or you're addressing in those high level conversations. Does that question make sense?
Yeah. So most of the biggest common problem or denominator that comes out is today your budgets are tight, technical resources are very limited, and it's difficult to evaluate the solutions that they want. Really have to fish out through almost 10 solutions before they can find one. And the problem is that most of the retail business people don't have the technical expertise to evaluate. And if they do have the technical team, already have so many projects going on that they're almost spending their time on firefighting rather than innovating for future.
I see. And then are you quickly able to shine a light on the fact that, hey, you're focusing on the wrong things, or if you let me look at this, you could focus on that.
So sometimes, yeah, a lot of times people are open to the ideas. A lot of times people are very resistant. Somehow it seems that it's their baby and they just don't want to let go. So a lot of times, people have resistance as well. But sometimes people are open when the conversation is pushing a different direction. But a lot of times, yeah, people are resistant. And then it's almost like, uh, a woodcutter. For example, most of the time, this is a very popular story. I think you have also heard about it. Whenever a woodcutter used to go to the jungle in the woods, and somebody told him, you need to sharpen your axe, the wood faster. He said, no, I really don't have time for this. And it is what we find a lot of times.
Yeah,
And they just don't have time to do anything new. It's just maintaining status quo is good enough.
it's so
And this
interesting.
is patchwork.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I'm imagining too, that how fast is your company growing right now, per chance?
We are going quite a steady pace at the organic steady pace. It's not extremely fast, but the pace we go.
Yeah, good. And then your annual revenue, are you open to disclosing those sorts of numbers, or give us a vision of how big is your company right now? Maybe,
We're about 50 people right now.
yeah, good.
50
And
people.
growing.
50
What's that?
53 people.
Yeah, good. And growing and slow but steady. The turtle.
Yes. Correct. Correct. Correct.
You will win the race. Hey, so I just basically was trying to say that your company is growing. You've got you've got 50, 60 people, employees. Um, you're you're a legitimate company. So I wanted to lay that vision because I'm imagining you see companies all the time that are stuck in that space of this is my baby, so their ego is in the way and they're like, yeah, not really open to new ideas. I've got this under control. We'll figure it out. Or the next thing I heard you say is we're just too darn busy to even really dive into looking at our data. We can't do that. I'm imagining the third thing that you hear a lot as well. Budgets are tight. Last thing we want to do is spend more money to try to fix a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we hear that quite a lot.
And so I imagine, I'm just imagining as you're having these conversations, you probably see day in and day out companies that you can help, that you clearly see the vision of how of growth for them or success for them or next steps
Yes.
for them. And right?
Absolutely. A lot of times, they have their own notions and they've probably spoken to a friend, did something with what worked for the friend. So they would probably want to do the same thing without realizing that the friend's business context and a lot of needs may be completely different, which also is something that we find. And there's a huge amount of, and especially, when you don't know much about something and you don't have time to investigate and do a little bit of research around it, you typically go for, the safest bet. And a lot of times, safest bet is to start, but may not be the best solution for you.
How quick, generally speaking, are you able to show somebody a return on investment when they commit to working with you?
We typically, bring them live onto the platform within 3 months. And in terms of return on investment, that automatically shows up within the first year. The mains, when we went live within a year, we had saved them 30% of the cost, increasing their overall year-on-year revenue by 3%. That automatically just pays for itself.
That's incredible. I imagine as a business owner, I mean, I know this. I have my own business, where I help. It doesn't matter, but I'm imagining the. I know those moments of like of where you see somebody and you see how you can help them, but their blocks are just so strong where you're shaking your head literally, right? You're like you
And
don't know it. Yeah.
a lot of times we also found we tend to propose solutions and they tend to find problems in the solutions as well. No matter how many solutions you find, you'll just find a hole in there.
That's incredible.
It's almost like they're just waiting to find an excuse for not doing something right.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at your again at bettercommerce.io, and I was looking at a picture of your team. So I think there's 50 people or so in this picture. Are you familiar with that picture?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Is that taken in London, or is that taken back in Delhi, or where is that?
That's taken in back in Delhi.
Okay. Is that where the bulk of your team is in Delhi, or
Yes. Majority of the team is all based out of Delhi.
how do you find so I hope I'm saying this right. So Indian employees, right? Am I saying that right? So probably 90% Indian, 10% what uh 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 England. Am I saying that
Yeah,
right? But yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So, I originally come from India, so it's not a problem. I have lived in India for a long time. I had started an IT services business uh, back in 2007. So continuing from that journey, it's not been as difficult as you might seem.
yeah. Tell me.
It's been overall a very rewarding journey. Of course, hiring is always challenging. Finding the right people is always challenging. It's never easy.
Yeah,
But over a period of time, I started, I have people who've now been working with me for the last 15 years.
yeah,
So, and what we did was all the people who had completed 15 years, we sponsored a family trip for them to Singapore for a week. And they all loved it.
yeah. That's amazing. So, when did you start Better Commerce?
Better Commerce, I started around 2016.
Was this an aha epiphany moment, or was it a natural progression?
Was almost like a natural progression where, we were doing a lot of bespoke work and we said, why not convert the bespoke work to more of a product rather than just wanting to do this. That's when we did this. Said, okay, let's look at building a product and deliver these services to a broader audience rather than just, finding a bespoke customer all the time. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
it does. I live in Encinitas, California, probably one of the yoga capitals of America.
Mm.
Yogananda, Karma, Karma.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got the self-realization fellowship in um in Encinitas, California, which I can actually see when I stand up and look out my window. But thriving, you know, yoga community, communities around here, Hindu communities,
Oh,
yeah. And I've been back to India myself, sort of, a pilgrimage, went to an ashram
where
outside
do
of
you
Chennai.
go?
Yeah, I went to outside of Chennai. It was Pedam. Pedam was a tiny
Yeah,
little town. Have you
there
heard
are
of Pedam?
quite a few. Yeah, I- quite a few ashrams on there.
Yeah, and it was great. This is 8, 9, 10 years ago by now, but I very much enjoyed the experience. Love that. Love the Hindu thought process. Um, but I'm thinking of typical Americans probably either think of India as sort of the pilgrimage destination, right? To find yourself, yogi style, to outsource to on the other side of the coin the the outsourcing of work. Um, so, are you active in Hindu yogi lifestyle yourself? I guess is my
To
question.
be honest, I mean, I barely get time, but yeah, I am not a little bit religious. My extent of religiousness is to the extent of my keeping my wife unhappy. Other than that, I am a pretty much more of a karma yogi, wherein you say that they focus more on your needs rather than anything else. I believe very strongly in that, and that tends to keep me sane as well. And a little bit of gone is more like meditation for me. It helps me do everything that I potentially my body and mind and soul needs. So that helps. That's the purpose of doing anything around yoga.
I love it. There's this saying, "Happy wife, happy life."
Yes, absolutely.
And so, tell me, I think what I'd like to dive into is you're building a business. You've had success over the years. You have your employees. You treat them well. I mean, they're like family to you. Um, um, tell me tell me, where do you see your business going?
Where we see ourselves as BEC in next 5 years, let's say 50 to 100 customers, serve them. For us, it's not about increasing the number of customers, not just a number on a spreadsheet, or an employee is not a number on a spreadsheet. We want to build a culture where people are more happy. Happiness should be part of your work culture, and if it's not, you really need to look at a different work profile. So I almost tell my people, that if you're happy, please find something to that will actually make you happy. Because if you keep your team happy, eventually they're going to deliver the same sentiment across to your customers as well. And in the end, if you are constantly delivering delight customers, it's a very gratifying feeling overall. You go home really happy, and there's a huge amount of satisfaction as well, which is quite important in anybody's life. The work that you do adds value to other people's lives. Build that relationship is what I look is, from my vision perspective, there are different elements. One is the human angle, which is about building a very happy culture across customers and team. And potentially all the customers that I've worked in the past over a period of time, most of them have ended up becoming good friends. So that's what I look at. And similarly, on the team, on the business side, I look at creating a successful business without having much of stress for anybody, delivering good balance of life and work overall. And when I say work-life balance, I don't necessarily mean that you work only 9 to 5 or something like that. For me, work-life balance has a slightly different meaning. I look at it in work and family. They are legacies that I have in my life. The two biggest components of my life. I can't say, imagine you have two kids and you say that, today I'm only going to talk to my first kid. I'm not going to talk to my second kid. Or my first kid's time is 8 to 12 and my second kid's time is 12 to 2. You don't do that. You speak to them whenever they need you. So for me, it's about finding that right level of balance, right level of flexibility as to that you're available for both of them. Of course, that is a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. Does that make sense?
It makes amazing. Yes, that makes great sense. That's amazing. I love that vision. I love that thought process. I think it's very refreshing. I would say that what we here in the States, America, in the United States, and I'm imagining many other Western uh, economies or societies, is the perception is that the Indian business culture is not balanced like that, or is not thinking family is number one, or is not thinking culture is number one, or is not thinking work life balance is number one. I think our perception is that is the opposite of that. Would you say that's accurate or?
Yep, yep. So in general, I think it is the perception is gradually changing, but not perception, but the reality is gradually changing. And the new age entrepreneurs, a lot of to look at a good balance of life and work rather than just work. I was corporate world for 10 years and I maintained that balance. At the same time, whenever needed, whether it was because I was always operating in the mission critical software area. So when you are operating mission critical software, I imagine, your software does 1 hour downtime of your software will lead to a business losing about £100,000. You don't want that kind of a burden on your head, right? Because you were not available, the business lost 100,000, which is so I was always available whenever needed. But at the same time, I maintained a good balance in life.
Able to
And I
turn
think
it
that's
off. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. So you went through university? Um, did you have did you have as you began your, let's say going into your teen years, going into university, were you thinking corporate career or one day I will be an entrepreneur, or were you not thinking either? Does that make sense, that question?
I was totally disillusioned, to be honest. I had no idea what I was doing. Education wise, I was below average. Degree, university, I barely managed to do university. It was quite tricky. I had no idea what I was going to do. It, I stumbled upon computers after I had finished my university and somehow managed to teach myself programming. That the moment I saw that, I said, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Thankfully, within a year of passing out of university, I found my calling, what I wanted. And that it didn't really matter, that was down in corporate world. And once I had been in the corporate world for good enough time, this is good enough for me. I'm going to go do something of my own, the culture that I want to be part of.
How successful were you at that point? Were you was it a big risk,
Yeah, it was
family
a huge
wide?
risk. So I was actually very well settled in Germany for about 3 years. And I came back to India and I said, I'm going to quit my job. I quit my job in Germany, came back to India, started all my own.
Was your wife freaking out, or did you have
Oh, yeah,
kids?
she was. She was almost not talking to me for too long about
Oh my gosh. Did you have to, were there, did you have to like tighten up your bootstraps, we might say in America, or like rein in budgets, maybe change your
absolutely. I
lifestyle?
mean, initial 3 to 4 years was pretty bad, actually. It was literally a hand to mouth situation. I had to borrow money from all the friends, my corporate world, anybody in my work. There was nobody left from being tired. I stopped picking up my phone after some time. Only want to ask for money. Thankfully, situations changed after 4 5 years and it became better and better gradually.
Did you, let's talk about that point of at 4 to 5 years where things started changing. Were you, I mean, I imagine I know the frustration of building businesses. Um, so did you have any moments of I quit or what have I done or
Every day,
every day?
every day. Whatever I done was every day. Why I do every day? The thing was, like I said, I knew that I can't sustain in the corporate world. I can't. I wasn't very happy in the corporate world. Like for me, it has always been about being happy.
Yeah,
No amount of bank balance can compensate for lack of happiness in your life.
yeah,
And if you don't feel happy, you feel like a trap, dragging yourself, literally dragging your feet physically. There's no point in doing that. So yes, every day I thought of that. Every day I thought, what do I do? But like I say, sometimes, sometimes just continuing to do what you're doing is an achievement in itself. So
yeah,
I just kept on that road, just surviving enough was good enough.
yeah. Did you have kids at that point?
So my kid was Actually, my kid was already born. My first daughter, she was born in Germany, and then we came back just right after that. So, and thankfully, initially my wife was very upset, but gradually she was supportive because, we came back in the last few days or few months of our stay in Germany. I wasn't very happy. And I could see that I was just too much. I was literally done with all of that. I wanted to build something of my own. I think there will be huge amount of regret, guilt, and everything around. I don't want to go back to guilt that I could have if only I did that. So I don't want to have that question ever in my life. If only I did that.
This is I love this. I the self-reflection to do that, the courage to do to start something is very powerful. So I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. I guess your golf meditation practice is clearly serving you well.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's for the last 2 years, ever since I picked up golf a bit more sincerely, I think it's been absolutely phenomenal for me. It's given me a lot of to survive, to fight. It's given me a lot of sanity, a lot of peace, mind, body, and soul, everything.
I think it's so powerful. We can get very myopic in our thinking or very one track focused on what will provide, connection to source or whatever, that mental freedom that you're talking about. And I love that golf is an outlet for you like that. It's a powerful statement. When did you know that you'd hit a turning point that starting your own business or starting this entrepreneurial journey was gonna work?
See, typically know when you break even,
Yeah.
when you can see, okay, there's something going to come in the back. At least I won't have to go out and borrow. Right? I think that's when you find out. And when you see that people take your word for it, tend to earn a little bit of respect, uh, it's tough. I think that's, and there's a lot of, you somehow know it instinctively. I don't think there's a metrics around it, but you just instinctively know about it.
To
And
your
every entrepreneur has to be a little bit delusional. I think you can't be a very practical, realistic guy all the time. Sometimes, a lot of times, going against stuff, you really have to be a little bit focused. Of course, there has to be balance in that delusion itself. You can't get so delusional that you refuse to listen to anybody at all.
that's
You
a
can't go to the extreme of that.
That's a great point, right? You are, on one hand, you do have to stop listening to the naysayers and stop taking advice, and you just
Correct.
have to to stay the course and stay pressing forward with your vision. But you do need to have at least listen now and then.
Ab- Absolutely. It's very important to have that right balance of delusion and reality.
So good. Oh my gosh. Well, so tell me, take me back to when you start breaking even, or you start, oh my gosh, this is going to work. Like I am on the right track. People are going to get paid back. What, talk to me.
This was way back in 2010, and I had just started my IT services business. It was already 3, 4 years into it, and it was very, very tough. Making the monthly expenses itself was a challenge, was a battle. Every month and last week of my month was pretty much all around, trying to arrange the salaries and all the expenses around it. And as usual, as everywhere, as customers, it was a challenge to get paid. And there are always issues and challenges anyway. And then getting paid was the biggest of them. So I think we got a very good project from a large that I was earlier working for in Germany. And that said, okay, we'll give you a trial project and we'll see how it goes because of my good relationship, that good delivery that I had done back then. And we started with a small proof of concept over there. And then that project led to another one, that led to another one, and one thing led to another. and that whole services business flourished.
Did your wife let you back into the bedroom
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point?
no, yeah, no, she was always after the initial 2 3 months. I think she was all okay.
Yeah,
After the initial resistance of 2 3 months, she was all okay. She accepted it all, and she was very supportive overall throughout the whole journey, irrespective of how tough or how bad it got. She was always very. I
that's
wouldn't be here. It wasn't for her.
that's fantastic. Um, let's a few questions, and I'll let you get back to your day, growing your business, or perhaps having. I know it's pushing 8 o'clock where you are,
No
eight
worries, no
thirty.
worries at all.
Okay, good. So the belt tightening you're talking about, it's a common theme you're hearing as you're talking to customers right now, or prospects, or potential customers. Is this a new development over the last couple of years where people are minding their P's and Q's, shall we say,
Yeah,
or
absolutely. I think the last couple of years, I mean, of course, COVID had a huge impact. Everybody went into almost like it was so uncertain that nobody wanted to make any new decisions. And then post COVID, things have opened up a bit, 1 year, 2 years ago. And then again, people have become a little resistant, especially in the UK, where the overall macroeconomic environment hasn't very healthy. Inflation has been very high. All the costs have gone up. So people are being very cautious in terms of where they spend the money, where they spend the budgets. And like you must be reading, retail is dying, high street is dying, all that keeps coming. So people get very, fearful of everything that's happening around. And they, of course, want to save their interest. So they're just taking all the steps very cautious. And that eventually leads down to, tightening.
yeah. Do you see it sounds like most of your business is England based. Uh, do you see America or the United States as the next frontier for your company, or
Yes, absolutely. So we've already started. We are already in conversation with one or good deals, a very mature state, where they're going to start using our software as well. And then the idea is to start with one or two customers and then start pushing a bit more on the US side as well.
awesome? I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see how your company grows and to follow along and see.
So
Yeah. Where do you see the economy going right now? I mean, you're on the pulse of e-commerce, I would say. Where do you see the next 3 to 5 to 10 years?
I think it's all these cycles. There's always a cycle of up and down. These are all natural economic cycles that will go on. And I think eventually it's all going to grow.
Yeah. We'll get back into a new growth
Yes,
cycle.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Where do you see e-commerce going in general? That's a very broad question, but I mean, it must be a
I think
lot
it's
of,
going to grow absolutely phenomenal. That we just only start scrapping the surface. It's just going to go really further. It's going to evolve quite significantly in the coming time. I think with the Gen AI bit and lots of other relevance coming around, I think it's going to evolve up beyond all the imagination or reality that we may have seen in future. What it would be, probably, I think it will be something like what we've seen in the sci-fi films. Is going to become reality.
yeah, it's pretty exciting, interesting, and a little scary at the same time, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Especially as we get older. Um, AI, you want to give me 2 or 3 minutes on that? How do you implement it, or do you like it, dislike it? Where do you see it's going? Give me 3 minutes on AI.
I think AI is going to change. So if you look at in terms of revolutions, of course, all the industry revolution, loads of revolutions that happened before. Internet was one revolution. Then came the mobile revolution. And I think the third one is the AI.
Hmm.
So these are, if you want to classify them, these are basically going to be three eras. Internet that came 1990s, around that. Then the mobiles came in 2007, smartphone, iPhones, changed a lot of industries, which killed a lot of industries. Today, I mean, if you see consumption, MP3 players are all, it's all gone. Mobile phone has also killed a little bit of camera industry, so much of it. So it's basically killed six industries. If you look at it, publishing and loads of other elements. And I think this AI revolution is the next era, which is still a little bit in its infancy, but I think it's going to go way far beyond what we can all imagine. And it's going to get deeply ingrained into our lives the way we cannot really think of. And
Yeah.
it's scary.
What's that? Scary? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very scary and a very
Yeah.
tricky element.
Yeah, very tricky element. Do you think, I think it's going to happen faster than we all think as well? Or,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's going to happen much, much faster than we all think. In the next 5 years, I think the whole landscape will change quite significantly. In 10 years, we can't even say what it's going to be. Yes.
as a company with 50 to 60 employees, how is AI?
We have adopted it. Now we've almost made it like it's for every developer, every person in the company to start using ChatGPT in their roles. We've started looking at the ways that we can incorporate as part of the platform itself, as part of the software, how it can add value to the customers from different perspectives, different angles. So we're already working in those directions, and we've already asked most of our team to start, opening their doors and start looking at different use cases and come up with their ideas and the thoughts. What more can be done with it?
That's amazing. And are you finding it's accelerating the creative process, accelerating the development process, accelerating your capabilities and capacities, or is it frustrating? Or does that
I
question
think
make sense?
as of now, saving a lot of time. So, for example, if you're stuck in a specific problem, or if you have to write a mundane code snippet, you could probably go to ChatGPT and it can give you. And if you were stuck in a specific technical problem, earlier days, you probably go online, you would search for an answer, fish out of 10 or 20 pages or 20 results and links and find out. Because now you can just go to ChatGPT, type that this is the problem I'm facing, how do I solve it? And you get the response pretty much, and you can try it out and that's it. It's very, very different approach.
Yeah. I
I
think
think
what
it's same time absolutely phenomenally.
yeah, that's cool. Um I I I this is probably a sensitive question, but you've got 50 some employees. Do you think it will allow you to scale quicker and then add more employees, or do you think employees start to become redundant, perhaps?
I don't think employees in our business will become redundant as such. I think their roles and the levels of productivity expectations are going to change. I mean, if you look at it, before the computers came into the way, the same things were books were maintained by so many different people. Now, of course, people who were maintaining those books manually or accounts or anything, all that data was maintained in physical books or notebooks or registers. All those people who were doing that would have probably thought, our jobs are going to go. The thing is, their jobs went away. The jobs evolved. Jobs did not go away. Jobs evolved into a different skill set. So it's about going forward, adopting new skill sets and building new skill sets, adopting new technologies and building new skill sets. So I
Yeah,
think jobs will evolve.
I like that. That's a good vision. Um, one final set of questions here, and then we'll go offline. Your you see you're embedded in the e-commerce space. Do you look out there now and then and go, "Oh my gosh, this is the e-commerce business I would start, and this is how fast it could take off." Like, do you ever have those intuitions or those thoughts, or does that question make sense?
Repeat that.
Yeah, if you were to start an e-commerce business today, what would it
Yeah.
be?
The very tricky thing. I've never been a a business guy per se. I've always been a technology guy. I love to create something rather than sell stuff. And there are so many innovative products. But like I said, I'm more of a creator. I as a hobby, I make films on the side. So I love creating and building stuff.
Amazing. So, anybody listening, watching right now, go create your e-commerce product and get on the phone with Vikram because he'll help you scale that bad boy. That's how I'd
Absolutely.
say it. What's that?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. I think this is a great place to end. Inevitably, whenever we hit stop, somebody goes, "Oh, I wished I'd have said this," or "I had this thought," or "one final this thought." Anything come to your mind?
Not really. The only thing I would say is a lot of times business people make their decisions based on what somebody else or what anybody else is doing rather than looking at the context of needs. I would say, like I say, content is king. I say that it's not the content, it's context which is the king. So, right? Context, any content would probably fly.
Amazing, Vikram. Great place to stop. I'm going to hit stop and we'll say goodbye offline. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.